Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of Weekly Controversies. This is episode 25. I am your host, J.O. Brown, as always, with my co host, the beautiful Scottish sexy bastard, Mark Goldberg, who was a brilliant quizmaster last week. Mark, how are you?
Doing good, Jamie. Good to be back. Looking forward to this episode. Enjoyed the quiz. Enjoyed the
Mm,
quiz, but we got some important things to discuss today. That's for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And also, my beautiful co host from the very start, Tony O'Connell. How are you, Tony?
I'm good. I'm healed from last week's absolute robbery in that quiz. The less said about that, the better. We're not
Listen,
here to hit the bit. We're not
I know I'm gonna say I got the
here to
ending
bitch
one
about
right.
a
I just
quiz.
got mixed up with the letters. That's my fault, but I did get it right, so I will take third place from last week. If you're wondering where is Rob Gold is actually running late, so don't worry, he will be in this episode, but he is just running late at the moment. But as you can see from my background, Mark's background, this episode is to one of the goats, if not the goats, of professional wrestling. A man who came out last week at Money in the Bank with a towel saying the last time is now. And John Cena came out and has said that 2025 will be his last calendar year in WWE as he will be retiring to most likely focus on Hollywood. Lads, what was your reactions to a monumental announcement?
So
Oh,
I was stunned. I was in Belfast with the lads for one of the lads' birthdays, and we were watching it. The lads were out cold, so I'm there watching it. Is this a work? Is this a work? But I saw because I saw it like everyone else saw the last time is now, and I was like, "What's that mean?" Then I saw the back for t-shirt. I was like, "No, no, it can't be. I'm not that old. It couldn't be that old yet." But I am indeed that old. It has been nearly 24 years of John Cena, and he is getting ready to call it a day.
Yeah,
I think it was really good forward planning from WWE. This product is so hot right now. For a start,
1-0
we
France.
have we have a lot of things to look forward to next year in the short term, whatever. But like, you can rhyme it off. The bloodline, where it's going to go, the why it's six, how that's going to unfold, and how they're going to cause chaos. Uh, Cody Rhodes' title reign, The Rock, so many things that we know is coming, and for them to also plan out Cena's retirement as a full year, like there's some forward planning. There's people already thinking, okay, Netflix, I gotta get on that if I haven't already. Loved that aspect of it. Think it's great to actually outline that way ahead of time. But in terms of the actual announcement itself, um, yeah, I don't really know how I feel. Cena's not won a match in a while. He's on a bit of a lost streak, or at least, he's finally putting people over. He's never turned heel, that sort of stuff. But it's one of those where you're like, do you know what? You kind of deserve this. You've kind of always had things your way, so it'd be nice if you also could retire your way as well. Um, who knows what we will have in store next year, but it's finally seen his chance to put some other guys over. There's some big stars up and coming there, and some that he'll have some good in-ring chemistry with in terms of microphone, like promo battles. Maybe in terms of ring work too. I think we're in for quite an exciting run, and we're going to get a lot of Cena. So yeah, maybe he is retiring, but we're going to get quite a few shows with him on it. So yeah, I think ratings will pop for that. I'm looking forward
yeah.
to it.
Yeah, no, it should be a great 2025, especially with that announcement. But for me personally, when he came out in the red, the first thing that came into my mind was the nostalgia of, if you remember, the 2011 attire from around WrestleMania time when he debuted against The Miz in the main event. And it was that year, especially with the CM Punk field, he came out in the red, and I was like, oh my God, he's back to red. This is sick. And then I seen when I noticed in the T-shirt the farewell tour, and I goes, "What the fuck farewell tour? What the fuck does that mean?" And then the last time is now, as you can see there. And lads, let's just say my heart absolutely sunk
But you're not
from
the only one.
the
You're not the only one.
literally like the kid in me was absolutely devastated, like heartbroken, because seeing it for a lot of people who don't know, me personally and have never known this, my first wrestling memory was John Cena versus Big Show at WrestleMania 20, and he was the fourth entrant in that WrestleMania. And I remember him literally run into the corner at Madison Square Garden, like with his knees up and getting the hype going. And in my family, like kind of rap is a kind of big thing in music. So when he came out with the Basic Tokenomics theme song, and he came out and he was spitting and he ended up winning the United States Championship by picking up a big show. 5-year-old me was so fascinated. It'd be like, people having memories of Hulk Hogan lifting Andre the Giant. That was my, Andre the Giant moment, and it was how I started to become a wrestling fan. So to know that one of my heroes growing up, one of the go-to professional wrestlers retiring is honestly devastating to me.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a big loss. It definitely is going to be a big loss to the world of professional wrestling. Me personally, I was like, oh shit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have an interruption because, as I said, Rob Gold was going to be coming into this episode, and he is here. The chain gang himself with the chain on his neck. Rob Gold is here. How are you, Rob?
I am absolutely buzzing, fantastic, wet, soaking from work. So I am all buzzing and ready to go. And this camera does not like me.
Rob, to catch you up.
We have some technical difficulties from Rob. We literally can't see him. Literally can't.
Can't see
So
him.
I asked the two lads, Rob, about the John Cena retirement announcement for 2025 and their instant reactions last week. What was your reaction like?
Honestly, as I say,
Yeah,
fix my camera first.
Yeah, the camera's gone again.
Yeah, we can't see you, Rob.
We literally can't see you. This is the best tribute to John Cena I've seen in the last fucking week or so.
Yeah, there we go. That's
there you are, Rob.
Oh, I'm not go again.
This is
Martin's gonna kill you. You're getting a bollocking off Martin this week, I can guarantee it.
I don't. It's my camera. It doesn't like it. I don't know what it is. That's why I always prefer just doing it on my phone because I know that it doesn't cut out.
Yeah.
So it's really devastating.
Are you there now? Yeah.
At the minute, but like John Cena could switch off at any time.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. So yes, as we were saying before the camera really, there we go again.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Keep going.
So, yeah. So as I was saying, the announcement, if I'm honest, it didn't really shock me. At the same time,
You're a liar.
like,
You're an absolute liar. It shocked everyone else in the rest of the world, but it just didn't shock you. You're a liar. You're speaking out your backbone.
no, I'm actually like honestly, it didn't shock me at all. The timing of it maybe, but the actual announcement of him, like, I think I'm hanging up the boots for next year, and it does make sense. But the question is, who is he going to be up against?
Well, we're going to get a plethora of opponents, aren't we? Because it's the year of seeing it. It's a farewell tour.
Yeah.
One of the things I think Rob touches on is quite important as well. There's not many times in wrestling, if ever, that you announce your retirement so far in advance. If John Cena was to retire at the end of 2025, having wrestled for the duration of 2025, none of us would be shocked. But the fact is, there's an element of shock because every single time somebody says, I'm retiring, it's a work. Right? Mark Henry, AJ Styles, you name it. We can all think of those things. For Cena to do this like as a planned ahead spot almost to give us something to look forward to, it's a shock to know it's coming. But if it happened at the end of 2025, we'd think, man, that bald patch, what memories, what nostalgia. We weren't shocked when The Undertaker retired. We would have been shocked if The Undertaker said, I am going to retire. That sort of thing. So it's a different sort of spin on it. But either way, I go back to the previous point. It's clever because it gets eyes on the product, especially with this new deal on Netflix. People are going to watch. It's going to be class. But I know we've got like a pretty substantial episode. I guess with Rob just joining us. I think Tony has taken away some of Cena's best and potentially most controversial moments for us to get into, and that's kind of what we're going to get into in this podcast. Interested to hear people's thoughts on some of the like best of Cena and worst, because I imagine we'll have a fair bit of disagreement on quite a lot of it, because Cena was polarizing. Let's not forget.
It was.
I thought the best place to start when it comes to moments with Cena and to come with to go with highlights and best moments. I think the best place to start is the very first day he stepped in the ring, the very first night on SmackDown when he accepted Kurt's open challenge came down. I don't think he came out to music. I think he just walked down the ramp, stepped
He
through
came
those
out to
ropes, and
generic
uttered
music, basically.
his generic music.
yeah.
And he stepped through the ropes and he uttered those now infamous and famous words, ruthless aggression.
Mhm.
So the first of the highlight part of John Cena's career I have is his debut against Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, that was the start of the ruthless aggression, because we know from basically the end of WrestleMania 17, it was the end of the Attitude Era as we knew it. And then when it shifted to WWE, they needed some fresh new faces. And then we seen like Edge, Eddie Guerrero, so many stars, especially on the SmackDown brand, going out and making a name for themselves. You still needed someone to take it to that next level. And Cena came out against Kurt Angle and started the ruthless aggression era. You know, especially for a brand like SmackDown, which was only new for those couple of years in the ruthless aggression era. You could say it was probably better than Raw as an actual product with wrestling matches and storylines and everything. And the Cena was the forefront of that. You know, he literally was. And, you know, no one realizes how monumental that debut was, other than, you know, having the first match against Kurt Angle.
Exactly.
Which was a great match as well.
Yeah,
Really?
it was, absolutely.
Like he took Kurt Angle like right to the wire, like so he did in that. He proved to everyone what he was all about, and he was only just getting started.
Mm.
It's a clever way to debut somebody that you want to be seen as special. I don't think WWE 100% knew what they had with Cena initially. I think they maybe got a bit lucky eventually with things that happen. I'm not sure we'll get into that, but certainly in terms of debuting a man with that look, that raw character, the style, Kurt did brilliantly to make him look quite as special as he did, in my opinion. I thought when you look back at that, you maybe don't know how that character could potentially unfold. He was totally generic. Totally generic.
Mm.
He just had a great look. Or at least without the trunks and whatever, like he looked like a superstar. And what he became after that was pretty amazing. The debut itself is memorable because of who he becomes. The debut itself was overrated.
Well, I picked the debut because most wrestlers they debut, they have a great match, they get squashed. They didn't get squashed, they had a few near faults. But they usually only appeared once in the debut and you don't see him again. But actually he appeared twice that night. Because the second time he appeared was backstage when he was shown respect by the judge, jury, and executioner of the locker room of WWE at that time and still now, The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can I quickly jump in on that because I had such an amazing pitch. We all remember when Cena was desperate to have a match with The Undertaker
Mm-hmm.
at WrestleMania. One of you will be able to remind me exactly which WrestleMania that was, right? But
It was
I was
34.
so I was pretty disappointed. They decided not to use that as a way of building that match because that's full circle. That was such an amazing, like that's what I remember. The handshake, the recognition that the Undertaker gave Cena that night. That was unbelievable. That was the point. That was the iconic moment for me. Why they didn't ever go back to that, I don't know. They missed a trick for me. Missed a trick on that one.
Yeah. And a lot of people can even say that, you know, with Undertaker's streak and that some people think that it should have never been broken. A lot of people, you know, said that John Cena should have been the one to break it because that was the one thing that could have had him up to a status as he has now, you know. And you look back at it now and think, oh, well, he probably didn't need it, but you never know what that could have done for Cena, you know, could have actually transcended his career to different heights that we wouldn't have imagined of at the time, you know. But eventually, then he went with Brock Lesnar. But that's it, you know. We were kind of robbed of that memorable because to me, like the 34 match was just a squash match. I don't want to ever remember that. We were robbed of a Cena Undertaker like absolute classic at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and the thing what you touched on there, me too, there was regarding, you know, the whole, you know, with that WrestleMania match type of thing as well, because with John Cena, like, you know, the fact that had he been the one that did break the streak, I mean, if I'm honest, I think that could have went against John Cena. I really do.
100%.
Because the way his character was built, you think with Brock Lesnar being, obviously more the heel, with John Cena, still kind of like the in-between babyface at the time, he could have went heel, but chose not to. And that's where they lost with that. But I think with the whole John Cena Undertaker thing, I think had he been the one that broke the streak, I think everyone would have turned on him, and it would have been him out of there, I honestly believe. Whereas Brock Lesnar, in a way, he sort of needed it more than what John Cena would have done. But as I say, I think based on the way everything fell into place, I think it just worked out.
The crowd was already against Cena at that point. Like, you couldn't have had him break the streak. They didn't want anyone to break the streak. But for it to be Cena at the point where he is going over pretty much everybody,
That's
that
not
would have been
true, but this is an
disastrous.
Undertaker episode.
What's not true?
You said they didn't want Daniel to beat the streak. That's not entirely true. Taker pitched
No,
3 times for people to beat the streak, and he was going down.
At that point, the fans don't want Lesnar to do it. They don't want Cena to do it. That's why there was such a shock.
Nobody wanted the streak broken at that point. We wanted him to retire with his undefeated streak.
Yeah, and that's the point I was making. So no, I wasn't wrong. Humble pie, yum yum.
Don't need to eat humble pie because I wasn't wrong, because your point was invalid.
My point was correct. You literally backed up what I said.
I think humble pie is going to be this podcast thing on forward.
I think that's a section. I think that's just a section on the the humble pie corner.
Yeah. But going back though to his debut and him impressing against Kurt Angle, we remember as well, I think his first feud and his first win was against Chris Jericho. So Chris Jericho is one of the first guys as well that also had some wrestling matches with John Cena. And after that though, it literally went nowhere for him. You didn't know what he's gonna do, and he got paired up with Matt Hardy, which was kind of very awkward at the time. And you're just seeing that like they had literally nothing for Cena until a certain Stephanie McMahon went on the tour bus and heard him rap. And if you ask me, that changed everything for his WWE career.
So yeah. I was gonna give a little. I know some of this is probably hadn't familiar with this, but John Cena was actually nearly released.
Yeah,
when he debuted. And it was only for, like you said, Stephanie walked onto the tour bus and heard him rap. I was like, you can rap. Never told us you could rap. And from there, that gave us the Cena that I fell in love with, the basic tokenomics Cena. And that brings us in to our first controversial take on John Cena. And that is his offensive rapping.
What?
Where are we going with this?
So if you're Cena today he's pushed towards kids. Kids love him. And kids think he can do no wrong. If you showed kids what he did back in the day, they'd have a different take. But he did have offensive. If you look back at Cena's stuff from 04, 05, 06, that lad could say something and get away with like nobody's business. He had raps on women's rights, on body shaming, on stuff that if you did it today in today's day and age, to get you cancelled.
Well, here's the thing. It's a marketing thing with Cena, really, ultimately. He's a marketing machine. What you're alluding to there, yes. Nowadays, that's not something that people would appreciate. You look at the Acclaimed, right? The Acclaimed in AEW right now, rapping a few things that, to be honest, whilst they were pretty over, the fans not so keen on what they're spouting at the moment. But back then, you think Eminem, you think, rap was all in. Eminem had released his album a few years earlier. That sort of stuff. That was pretty huge. It was cool. Kids listened to it. Kids loved it. And they slowly developed Cena into this marketing machine with the t-shirts and the color. But at that time, yes, it's controversial. I'm not sure WWE would like you to remember it. That's for sure.
It's like you don't
of its
really
time,
see
Tony.
them.
Of its time.
That's why I put it there. Because of like, you know what I mean? Because you don't really see them go into the vault when they're doing video packages and put a 2004 Cena promo up because they just couldn't do it.
No, of course.
Exactly.
You know that you don't really get to see many of the clips unless it's the famous ones. But if you really wanted to go down the rabbit hole, you can always go on the WWE Network or even YouTube and see them saying clips. But, yeah, literally. it's crazy because at the time when he was a heel and he was the Doctor of Thugonomics, everyone loved him. It was like you see nowadays with heels. Heels are so loved, and that was Cena. Cena was literally second anyone on that SmackDown brand, from Brock Lesnar to Edge, anyone, Rey Mysterio. Like literally, the guy was so over, and Vince McMahon was so right, this guy can gravitate to an audience and stuff. So that's when they transcended him into more of a kind of superhero and everything like that. But to all of us, that's what we've known of Cena, in our first memories was the Doctor of Thugonomics and then the US belt. And then I know it's going to be probably a take on into, next couple of segments, but I mean, some of the stuff he did with the bling and his merchandise and stuff like that was one of the best things and most memorable things as well during his tenure in the basic of Thugonomics. And growing up as a kid, I always wanted stuff like that, and my mom couldn't afford it, but I mean, you just wanted to get your hands on him because he was so cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, he was so marketable in every aspect once he hit that stage of being Dr. Thugonomics, bringing out all the stuff for the t-shirts and things like that, and everyone just loved getting them, myself included, as you can tell, type of thing. So going all out, getting that and things like that. He was just so, it was one of the ones that you could easily relate to, just be able to, especially like the older he got and the more wiser he got and the better he was in the ring. And then some of the matches that he was putting on was good as well. And that, so he was getting slagged off a lot with at the start, saying like how bad his matches were and things like that. And you kind of like sometimes overlooked that side of it, because of how popular he was and things like that. But I mean, John Cena is just John Cena.
Yeah.
Well, he's not exactly the Undertaker, is he?
No, but
there's a wee
John
bit of
Cena.
difference.
You heard it here first, guys. John Cena
It's not the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave links because I don't want to be copyright infringed. I don't want to get shut down. But if you don't believe me that he had defensive raps, look up the stuff from 04, 05. In fact, look up what he did with Stephanie McMahon. He didn't give a fuck.
No.
Lita as well. Lita got a hard time.
And that's where he got the gimmick, or not the gimmick, his alter ego, as Michael Cole called it now, the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Yeah.
Because his rap style was pug rap.
Yeah.
Word life.
Actually, anyone who has a brilliant history, who was the manager of Cena when he first became that character, the big tall guy? I forget who that was.
Which when he was the rapper?
Yeah, when he was the basic of Thugonomics, he had a tall guy
was it not
manager, but
was it not bleeding?
It was.
Was not Buchanan?
Was it not? What's his bleeding name? Was it not Tomko?
Was it Tomko?
Yeah, no, that wasn't. He was Christians.
No, he was Christians. You're right.
No, it wouldn't have been Christians going. No.
I remember him tagging with Billy Kidman.
Was it not your man Buchanan?
It might have been Bob Buchanan, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed, yes. Bill Buchanan was his enforcer. I remember that.
Yeah. There you go. I wanted to know because that was the first thing as well I thought of was when he first became the character, he had that, manager, basically the insurance.
So, Rodney Mack, also renamed Red Dog, also after Bill Buchanan, was accompanying Cena to the ring for a short period of time. Really strangely.
Yeah.
Spanky.
But so any more good takes on Cena, Tony, that you have there and there?
I could see what dying to say, but you held off on it, and I respect it. Because the second good take I have on him is one of my high ranking takes. And it's probably one of Cena's first feats of strength. And that was at WrestleMania 20 when he won the United States Championship, doing what the whole match was built around, doing the impossible, giving the, at the time, FU to the 500-pound Big Show.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. And it's a memorable WrestleMania moment. But what I was going to say was, to me, that was wrestling. That was what gravitated to me. And it's just something I can't get over to this day, And the match wasn't even that long either. It was literally probably I think 8 to 10 minutes. It didn't bore anyone. It didn't have to be longer than that. And it was basically building up to him lifting up Big Show and then just slam down with the FU. And then after that, we had everything that you wanted as a kid. You had to spin a US belt. You had to spin a fucking chain that Rob has. all the basketball jerseys, everything you knew about Cena from the Doctor of Fuckonomics, because this is when he turned babyface as well, by the way. And then even then, people still loved him. People still wanted to cheer for Cena and buy all his merchandise. But my God, I remember, I don't know how I remember this, but there was someone in where I'm from anyway. I think they went to Orlando for a holiday, but I think SmackDown was on at the time, and they had the US spinner belt, and I wanted it. I really wanted that spinner belt so bad, so I can go around in my baseball Yankees cap and then just say, "You can't see me." Like literally, that was one of the that was one of the first WrestleMania merchandises I want, was that US spinner belt, because it was gorgeous, lads. I don't know how you feel about it, but it was
And
gorgeous.
it's funny because knowing what we know now, it's probably the only good moment we can talk about in that fucking WrestleMania.
Yeah, literally. Well, that and the fucking Eddie Guerrero Corango match. That was a great match. But we're not talking about them two guys.
I disagree. I didn't like the US spinner.
Nah. Yeah.
Listen, it wasn't. He didn't make it because people liked it. He made it because it was his gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was literally
I didn't love that.
I still think it holds the record for the highest selling replica belt of all time. Funnily enough,
really, that
US.
US spinner belt.
I think if it's not that one, it's the one he bought out when he beat. Well, we get into the second one later on in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know. The actual match itself, I mean, clearly it's just a way to put him over. It's Cena versus Big Show. It's Hogan versus Andre.
Yeah, but I
to
think
be honest,
for me,
that was my Andre and Hulk Hogan match. In fairness,
yeah. So for me, because obviously I grew up with Big Show as the Giant, and I've seen other wrestlers do feats of strength with him. So for me, if someone like Big Show's bill at 7'2", 500 pounds, lets you lift them and slam them, that has to be a sign of respect from the old school to the new school.
Yeah, I think so. And the crowd was hot for Cena at this point. The crowd was really, really hot. That's something that we, maybe forget later on. How many WrestleManias or big matches the crowd actually looking not so fond of Cena's result. But for this one, this was like him on that upward curve. It was a pretty big moment. It cemented him as the next big star, which those title belts at that point in time, that's what they were there to do. The Intercontinental, the US title belts, a lot of them would go on to be WWE champions after winning that sort of mid-card title. So yeah, this put a rocket on Cena's back.
Literally.
It was
Literally.
huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Only went like 10 minutes as well. Only went like 10 minutes. One of his
It's
shortest
literally
WrestleMania
short.
matches.
It was short and sweet, and it built Cena's like kind of as his first championship. It built him up really big, especially in 2004, going into then, which was the following WrestleMania, and we all know what happened then. So that was definitely what Cena needed for his career. But not only that, it was the first sign as well of him being the next kind of big baby face in the WWE, and at the time there were so many heels, Evolution, and then you had Brock Lesnar, who was also leaving and everything, but he was the first big baby face that they were going to be pushing, and then the rest was history.
Indeed.
But what's the second controversial take?
So the second controversial take, or worst take, if you will, and I think this is going to be a conversation starter. This is from, I believe, 2012. John Cena beating the Nexus.
Yeah, I could see that, and everyone remembers the debut of the Nexus, and who better to put an absolute beating down to the biggest babyface, the biggest fucking name, the face of WWE in Cena. And yeah, I you know what, lads? It's his thing about the Nexus, right? That you wish you'd see them now, because under a Triple H, you could go, man, Nexus could be someone you don't want to mess with. They will beat you down to the black and blue, and then you won't be able to come back up again. But with Cena, when he was Superman, he literally tore every single part of the Nexus until the Nexus was no more. And you know what, though? if anyone can remember this, they had big potentials with the Nexus when Cena was a member of the Nexus. Because if you just remember, I think he was the special guest referee to Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett at Survivor Series.
Yes.
And he counted the 3 for Randy to win, which meant that when Randy wins, he has to leave WWE, right? But that led then to him then joining the Nexus when he came back. And I think that's one of the biggest missed opportunities, I think, with the feud with Cena, was that I think they could have showed a side of Cena that we'd never seen before. But then, like they did with Daniel Bryan and the Wyatt family, he breaks out from the Nexus, you know? I don't know about you lads, but that was always being something to me that's like one of the biggest missed opportunities in that field.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done something to a degree there, but obviously with Cena, still being a baby face, even if he came into the Nexus as a baby face, because all the Nexus, even though they were good individually, what they were doing as a group, they were always stronger. And if you added John Cena into that mix and even turned him heel, and that, or even sort of just done him heel like until he decided to break away from the group, then that would have sort of propelled them a bit further down the line in their careers as well. And it was unfortunate that that didn't pan out.
They tried to save the Nexus by doing that. The story was dead, and it was dead because of a ridiculous booking decision, and not the only one that we will see. I'm sure as we get into more discussions, this might be the worst one. I don't get it. Cena has a business brain. He has got better recently in recent years of putting people over and understanding the long-term plan and whatever. But I have no idea if rumors are true, which by all accounts, from many different sources, they are, and Cena decided himself that no, we're going over. I just don't get it. It makes no sense, storyline wise, business sense, whatever. And it sucked the life out of it. It
It
killed
did.
so many
It did.
characters. It killed such momentum. Nexus was one of the coolest things. I didn't even really watch at this point, but I knew what was going on, and I was interested in keeping an eye on it. I didn't come back fully. Took a couple of years for that, but I just don't quite get,
I
remember my catchphrase, tone deaf?
Hmm.
This was
Yeah.
completely
And
tone deaf. Yeah.
like you said, it was shit decision from shit creative, to be quite honest. Because you were building them up, they had gone, they'd rip rings apart, they'd took out anyone that was in their way, they flattened the boss. Vince took like 6 or 7 finisher bumps on Raw night, took Vince out, like they were taking everyone out, they were building them up, so like they have to be our team saying to put together. Surely to God.
Yeah,
And then they didn't. And then they realized their mistake. It deflated the faction, and they tried to reinflate the faction by repairing that puncture in the form of CM Punk.
Yeah, and the thing about it was too, it was like it definitely started off as a marketable group, the Nexus as well too, and the fact that if you had Cena in that, you think the amount of kids that would have thought to themselves like, oh, John Cena's in this group, I'm going to get a Nexus shirt.
Yeah, another way to do it. I don't know. I didn't like the booking move. Sucked the life out of
I
it, like
don't
you
think
say.
many fans that were your my age or JO's age actually did, because it was
No.
like, why? What does it do? Like who helps? Who benefits from it? Like,
Children. This is just
no, I
WWE
get
in its
that. I get that.
PG era.
I
Yeah, no, but that's
I
the only
100%
reason I
get that.
can think of it.
But at the time, it looked like they were building up a new breed, a new bunch
Yeah.
of talent. So at the time, I thought, right, this is staying a pass in the guard, surely. Then
Wrestling sense, it doesn't make any sense. But when all they see are dollar signs, when kids can run around in more Cena t-shirts, they wanted to keep that guy winning and winning and winning and winning. And this is him. People talk about 06, 07 Cena being pretty, overbooked, super Cena. This is the worst version of Cena in my eyes. This is the worst version of Cena.
uh,
That one
and
booking
it's like you
decision.
and it's like you said, it's like that old saying, it's nothing personal, it's just business.
Literally. Do you know what though, lads? When it came to the Nexus debut and beating up Cena, it was a matter of feeding a bunch of meat to a hungry wolf, and that wolf was Cena. And in a way, they could have done it to any superstar who was a babyface. You know, they could have done it to an Edge, they could have done it to a Jericho, they could have done it to anyone. But because they did it to Cena, it was like signing up to their own funeral when it came to the Nexus, because Vince knew he was untouchable. Nobody can go over Cena unless you are as near to him as a superstar as you are. Even if you're a newcomer, there's no way you're going to get near Cena and you're going to get yourself over. So it was beginning of the end for the Nexus that night. Even though you looked at it and goes, man, these are going to do big things in WWE. It was just like gone. It was forgotten in the space of a couple of months.
Jill, you've made a brilliant point, a really, really good point, because when you look now at the difference in WWE's booking, WWE's storytelling, big names coming in, right? You're not seeing Braun Breaker go through Cody Rhodes. You're
No.
not seeing the Wyatt Six take out, Damian Priest, or as I say, I'm going to use Cody Rhodes' name again. You are seeing these acts go mid card first, get themselves over, and work their way up. Whereas back in the day, Umaga debut, feed him to Cena. Great Khali debut, feed him to Cena, and it's like we've got a new heel, get him straight to the main event and get Cena
I,
over him fast, and that
I,
has changed. And that is you make a good point. We don't see them. We don't see heels, new heels, getting fed to big stars as much anymore.
I know this is Cena episode, and I'm going to do me going off topic thing for a second. I swear Great Khali's debut was against The Undertaker.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I remember
eventually,
Great Khali was like the World Heavyweight title picture. It was against Batista and stuff.
Like, he was straight into the main card. It's not the point you're making that certain people are straight into the main card, whereas they should have been put mid card and built up.
still, what I mean is Cena still went over him, which loses all
Yeah, no, yeah, he did. Yeah,
credibility.
yeah, yeah.
Because Khali did go over the Undertaker, which again was people would have said was a bit odd.
Still,
But you back that. It's only odd because it was Khali, right? If you're booking somebody
yeah.
to be a star, you do that. You put them up against someone and you get them over. But ultimately, what it was like '07, he ends up, he debuts in '06. By '07, he's fighting Cena.
Mm.
Yeah, eventually
It
loses,
kind of still
credibility's
happens
gone.
today as well, though, them decisions.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, though, Mark, as well, right, is that we look now, right, and we look at Cena and we appreciate what he did back in the day. Even if there was some things, like as a fan, right, don't get me wrong, when you're a
Yep.
kid, you don't really care. Cena Superman to you, he was my hero, everything like that. But as an adult, you hear now and you go, look, listen, it wouldn't have damaged Cena that much to lose a couple matches here and there, because we've seen it with so many other big stars before. Even the Rocks and Steve Austins in the world have lost matches before.
hmm
But he was so protected and so untouchable from Vince McMahon that even when it came to, babyface stars, if you can remember Bobby Lashley going on the ECW brand, he was a Vince guy. Vince put the ECW belt on him because he didn't want any of the ECW originals getting the belt, and he wanted his version of ECW to build on characters like Bobby Lashley. So then when he eventually moved on to Raw, he was fed to Cena. And I remember the Great American Bash where Cena literally buried him, and the Bobby Lashley character was not the same. And he was supposed to be the next WWE champion, but he was up against somebody who arguably nobody could be put over against. So even like young baby faces at the time, but not even heels, young baby faces now couldn't even get past Cena.
That's another topic entirely. How he just dominated that time. It was always, you think of Cena being the top man for years and years and years. He's the one you think of mid 2000s, late 2000s, early 2010s. You had people pop up. You had your CM Punk's kind of there, Batista was there, but Cena was always the guy. And there's a few more the guys these days, I think. Even with Cody Rhodes clearly levels above.
Yeah. So, Tony, what is the third best memory
So
from John?
the third highlight of John Cena's career is again to do with the United States Championship. This time when he held the US Open challenges.
Oh my god, lads. They were some of the best matches for that belt I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They were so good. Can I touch on this actually? Because it's
Yeah, go
actually
for it.
very recent. Like nobody, and we sit here now and complain about back in the day when he didn't put a lot of guys over and everything because he was super Cena and everything. But man, even when he did win them matches, rest assured, the guys like Neville, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, who was only the NXT champion. Yes, he lost twice to Cena in that feud, but my God, he got some of them guys over because a lot of the guys who came from NXT, who we've known from the independent scene, never really got that kind of big pop and big reaction and stuff. And it was like, right, who can they be up against for someone to not only learn, but to then get eyes on them for their future matches and future, storylines and everything. And Cena at the time was perfect. And the idea of the Open Challenge was amazing for new up and comers coming from NXT or even just debuting on the main roster because it gave them an opportunity to wrestle one of the greatest of all time, to challenge for a belt and to see if they can hang. And rest assured, I'd say 90% of the people, even Stardust, Cody Rhodes, nobody probably will remember the match, but I remember like some of the movesets that Cody does now, he did against Cena, and it was such a memorable match. That's what I remember from that Open Challenge was the amount of stars that have built up to where they are now today.
And that's
Is
one of the reasons
Is this the best version of John Cena?
it was a John Cena that wanted to put talent over, put talent on the map. It was also a John Cena that made that title the most relevant title at the time.
And it was also a John Cena, in my opinion, putting on bangers, right? Now,
After
say we
banger.
like
After banger.
after banger, guys like Sami Zayn, guys like Kevin Owens. Now, these guys can go, but it takes two to tango. Cena wasn't carried by these guys. Cena had good matches with these guys. Every US title open challenge became entertaining, and Cena was a big part of that. He elevated that title like nothing else. For me, yeah, I loved Cena during the mid 2000s when, I'm young enough that you don't really quite understand the politics and whatever. But even then, there's just something about Cena holding that US title that I respect most. I think that is my favorite part because he was doing business for the business, not for Cena.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you know what I was going to say as well? As you said, is this the best version of Cena? I think from the span of 2011 to about 2015-16 was probably the best like John ever wrestled. And if you look at from when he wrestled, in the late 2000s, everyone remembers the 5 moves of doom. Everybody knows that's all John Cena was ever known for. He was only ever known for 5 moves, 1, 2, 3, and then he wins every single time. And I know for a fact, Cena, I think he might have said it in a few interviews, like that was what a lot of people nicknamed him, and he needed to put more stuff in his arsenal. And then, of course, then it was a perfect time in the WWE where you got guys who were amazing wrestlers as they already was coming in and Cena, tangling with them because then he can show to them guys what he can do as a wrestler. And my God, like as you said, Mark, banger after banger after banger he had for that, United States Open Challenge.
Yeah.
And he
And
done
it was
so many
also, you didn't
things
know what was
where
going to
Cena,
happen.
yeah, and you seen so many things Cena did, and you were like, man, I thought like who remembers? I don't know why this is across my head, but who remembers the suicide dive from Cena against CM Punk on the Night of Champions? Like that was the start of him using different moves and his arsenal, and it was
That would have been at the
definitely
pinnacle of when
him
people were
getting
saying
better
he
as a
only does
wrestler.
5 moves.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because he started doing that. He started doing the springboard stunner.
Yeah, and then the leg drop from the top rope as well.
When he was wrestling Punk and Raw, he did a Hurricane Rana.
yeah. He even
So
stole
he did have
Canadian
more than 5
Destroyer, I
moves.
think. So my God, like Cena as a wrestler definitely got better, in the late stage of his career, 100%.
No, definitely. And I think about it, and I don't know if this is something that Tony might be bringing up. I don't know, but one of the biggest points for me that I always remember John Cena had, especially on the SmackDown era of Cena, was the 5 stages of hell match with Booker T for the United States Championship. That for me was one of my favorite moments, especially as SmackDown as well as John Cena's career on SmackDown. Because yes, you knew kind of like John Cena was going to be the one that was going to walk away being the champion again, but it just gave you that sort of that entertainment side of both of them, going for that belt, and two, John Cena going up against a WCW legend, in Booker T, and for that championship, as well, and they always put on decent matches for that title as well, which was always nice to see.
So, any more word on that, lads? Any more takes on the US Open Challenge?
They'd be all good takes because it was one of the better things Creative did during that time.
Yeah, it was definitely in recent memory, anyway, in the last 10 to 15 years.
I think
it's one of the best things.
I'd have to deep dive it, but I'm nearly confident enough for this answer. Every week that he held that title and did that challenge, whoever came through the curtain got a massive pop, big pop.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I actually just say before we get on to the next controversial take, is Cena the last great US champion, like the last brilliant US champion? Because what he did with that belt it was more relevant than the IC belt, because like the IC belt was like, even though it was back to the white strap and it was a brilliant looking belt, nothing was going to it. It was having ladder matches at WrestleMania and it was amazing, but nothing was going to that belt. But when Cena had the US belt, it transcended that belt to another level. So I was going to say, is he the last great US champion?
So I would say yes, because he's one of the few wrestlers that had the belt on TV every week. It was defended every week. It was built up. It was made relevant. It wasn't like just opening shows. It could have co-main, that depended on who he was feuding with. He got great feuds with Sami Zayn out of it, great feuds with Kevin Owens out of it. I mean, I haven't even the US challenge to thank for elevating Sami Zayn and elevating Kevin Owens.
Big time. Yeah. And I think it was a big point in their careers as well, putting them matches on for the likes of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because at the end of the day, it's like not too many people are out of the independent scene, and especially those who would have maybe just watched WWE, not NXT, would be like, who is this guy? And then actually taking notice of who they are when they were in the ring with John Cena. And the fact that propelled them, each match, both of them, have propelled them into their WWE careers today. And if it wasn't for those matches against John Cena, I don't think their careers would have been much the same as what they are.
It's a testament to John Cena too, because a lot of people say, "Oh, he buried a lot of talent," but during that time, even though he may have won, he absolutely pushed and elevated all that talent, because he was the one that picked him. He was the one that said that's who he wanted to accept it, and the sky was the limit.
Yeah. So, Tony, what is the next controversial take you have for John Cena?
The next worst booking controversial take is to do when John Cena was having his feud with Wade Barrett in the NXT. Jairo, you touched on it. Cena lost. I don't know, he lost the match. It was he didn't fulfill his obligations, so he was fired. But the very next night on Raw, Cena was there wearing a Mexican mask as Juan Cena.
Are you sure? No. Are you sure it wasn't John Cena saying goodbye and then everyone literally in a big line clapping Cena off, and then at the end it was Randy Orton giving him a hug, and then it was Wade Barrett then doing the "You Can't See Me"? I think that was right. That was what happened at the next night. But then the following week, I think he then came down.
Yeah, it was the following week. He was back, but he built up. He was shown back up wearing like a mask, like Mr. America style, and he was called Juan. I think they tried to do it like with John. It's spelled Juan.
Why can't I remember
Juan Cena. Yeah, it's like he had segments backstage that involved the fucking other match.
Yeah, I actually don't remember that, because I do remember that Nexus feud vaguely, and I remember like the whole David Otunga in the hotel room, and I remember.
I'm nearly saying it was during that feud. I could be wrong.
You can't remember it because it was fucking shit.
No, I remember
that too.
most stuff from that feud.
The reason you can't remember is because one, it was lazy booking, and 2, it lasted a whole week. If
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken as well.
literally. But like you said about the Wade Barrett thing, and I get that, right? I get the whole like Wade Barrett was a believable heel, and that's the one thing you have to say about Wade Barrett's early start in WWE. He was a believable heel. He had a faction in the Nexus where he was the leader, and he was so dominant. And in a way, he should have had at least one little small reign with the WWE Championship with the Nexus, but because Cena was there, it was like right, there was nowhere else he was going to be doing. You know, nowhere else he was going to be going. And it is a testament to how, like, because see, that's the thing, right? We could touch so much about this Nexus and Cena thing that would be probably scratching our heads and pulling our hair out. But it's just the fact of, like, it's happened. It is a big missed opportunity. But I will say one thing. With Cena being the big babyface at the time, I just think it was the wrong booking decision for them to go after him. And I think that's what I'll touch on, because it was just the wrong time, it was the wrong place, and it should have been somebody else next. It should have went for. But that's just my take on it.
You guys know me for being a big Drew mark. Before there was
Yes,
Drew,
unfortunately.
there was Wade. I really like Wade Barrett.
I loved Wade. I'm
He's
still a big Wade fan.
believable. Yeah, me too. He's believable. I like listening to him. I like watching him in the ring. He totally deserved to hold the title. He deserved legitimacy. He deserved credibility. And at this point, this is the worst of Cena. For me, as I mentioned, the next is sort of time, because this is sell as many t-shirts as you can. This is don't let anyone get over. This is don't let the kids have a real villain that they hate. How do heels get heat? If they just get taken away, get it taken away, or literally extinguished by Cena. I'm gutted that Wade never really. I mean, he
Yeah.
never really recovered totally, did he? Because
He did. No. Yeah, because
he
they
went through different things,
repackaged him
but
multiple times after. And
that's sad.
like,
That is sad.
if you look, grab a dictionary, grab a dictionary and look up missed opportunities. So the picture of Wade Barrett's face under missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Because
On
he
that,
could have really been a big villain in the John Cena hero story arc, and they messed it up.
do you think there's something in Wade Barrett potentially stepping back in the ring? Or so I know he's got
Well, he's not.
injury
He didn't stop
problems.
wrestling because he was injured. He stopped wrestling because
His body.
I don't think he was injured. I know he had an injury, but it wasn't like a career-ending injury.
So with what's going on with Drew at the moment, he's getting a lot, he's getting quite involved a little bit more backstage or with Drew. There's something, I don't know, is there something brewing? I really hope so, because that man
Well,
deserves some flowers. He really does.
he does, and again, you're saying Wade Barrett's getting involved, which it makes sense because let's be fair, Punk robbed that man's faction. Punk robbed Wade Barrett of any shots he was ever going to have back then. So if anyone has more of a hatred for CM Punk than Drew, it will be Wade Barrett. So it makes perfect sense to have Wade in on this story. And if this is how we get Wade back in the ring, well then if you're a Punk fan, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Right.
So
look,
on
listen,
that,
right. And this is not. I hate to be a prick here, as I don't mean to be a prick, but it isn't a Wade Barrett truth.
Yeah, no, that's not what they're showing this network.
Yeah, no.
I'm on the
But
prick.
here's the thing, right? We're gonna end it on this. What if Wade Barrett was to get himself involved into this farewell tour? Just hypothetically, right? What if he was to get involved because he still has animosity to what happened back in the day? Because Triple H could. You can see the amount of flashbacks and callbacks he has done in the last year or so, where you could go, man, Wade Barrett.
We've seen it a lot.
Storyline with John Cena. It doesn't have to wrestle, but like in the storyline.
Not just with Wade Barrett, we have seen it a lot. I know Nick Aldis gave an update on his recovery and said he's still a few months off from being cleared. And we've seen him being teased in feuds. One that goes under the radar, and I don't know why it's going under the radar, but how many times each and every week have we seen Adam Pearce teased in feuds? And that man can wrestle. Look up his Ring of Honor stuff. Look up his Scrap Daddy gimmick. That man can go.
Yeah,
so
look
I see no reason why he doesn't get put in the ring.
Sean Ricker, aka LA Knight.
So they've teased it with a few people that aren't active wrestlers at the moment.
Yeah. So, what is your fourth John Cena memory that you have there in the list?
So my fourth highlight, and I said we were going to mention it earlier on, is another first for John Cena. WrestleMania 21, his first world title win.
Yes, lads, in the JBL field.
The JBL feud, one of his best feuds.
Yeah,
I do believe.
Yeah, and you know what though, right? I know when that feud started, it was around the Royal Rumble or just about after the Royal Rumble, and you can tell that they were putting the belt on Cena. Like they were literally gonna go like, listen, this JBL run has been great, even though we took the belt already. It has been a great heel run for him as champion, but they needed a big baby face. JBL wasn't young either. I think he was in his like early 40s. Cena, I didn't think reached 40 at the time. And he was someone who had a rocket on his back. It just hadn't lit up and shot up yet. But as soon as I went to WrestleMania 21, and I actually, do you know what, lad? I had a Mandela effect there actually over the weekend, right, when I'm seeing John Cena clips. I thought WrestleMania 21 was when he debuted the new My Time Is Now music, but it wasn't. It was actually, I think, the week before on the SmackDown when it debuted. So that's, something for you anyway. But anyway, it was new theme song. It was new everything with Cena, and he became the WWE champion. And lads, that definitely put him as the babyface of WWE.
Yeah, big time. And like the match itself was it was a good enough match as well, and the feud itself was, I would honestly put it, I would say, one or two of John Cena's feuds, big time. Because I mean,
yeah, no, it was definitely one of those finish the story moments, because it was, I think it was like there was a 3 or 4 month build up to Mania, and you're like, are they going to push the button? Will they push the button? Is JBL going to continue? Because at the time, JBL was the longest reigning WWE champion.
He was.
Yeah, on SmackDown he was, yeah.
On SmackDown, yeah.
Yeah. But see, he wasn't young, as I said at the time, so they knew they were like putting the belt on Cena. They were building, because JBL literally didn't have a thing like with Cena. Like Cena was literally doing everything to JBL when it came to like, oh, JBL couldn't strike him, or he was breaking up his limo and everything like that. Everything Cena was doing was to get into the head of JBL. JBL couldn't do anything. He didn't sneak attack him, nothing. And it was kind of the first glimpse you saw as well of the protection Cena had at the time, because nobody could have, touch him. He was basically Vince's golden boy.
And
With
when he
sorry, Tony, with every good baby face, there needs to be a good heel. I'm gonna give JBL his flowers for this.
Mm-hmm.
JBL has a lot to do with John Cena's rise and getting over. Now, fans starting to kind of see where this is going. Not quite the Roman Reigns backlash, but a little bit of grumbles when Cena does get to this point. Rob will probably remember a little bit better than us, because we were probably younger and had that, oh, I love this guy. This guy's so cool. But maybe at that point in time, people were like, oh, I see where this is going. They're trying very hard. But either way, Rob, I'm really keen to get your thoughts on that. But just before you do, like you say, I think JBL's role in this, looking back, is again pretty underrated. It's definitely a top 3 Cena feud for me. Some of their interactions were great. The way that the characters kind of came together, that sort of snooty American style that JBL had versus this young rapper, don't give a fuck kind of thing. That was a cool feud. And the perfect foil to Cena's babyface run. But yeah, Rob, do you remember what it was like with the fans at this point? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think there was a little bit of tension.
I mean, not too far long after becoming WWE champion from defeating JBL for the title, I remember at the time, it was it was almost kind of going the way whenever Roman Reigns was winning the championship and he was getting handed this and handed that. And John said, so in a way, it was kind of similar to a degree. But I honestly believe had John Cena not have went up against JBL, had it been someone else, I honestly don't believe it would have been as good as a move for John Cena to be champion. Whereas with JBL as champion, I think he was the best one at the time, who would have been the one to propel John Cena's career in that moment. And going forward, I think John Cena, should be praising JBL for his career in a sense. Because if it wasn't for JBL, there would be no John Cena, almost 16-time WWE champion.
Yeah, no,
So
100%. And what are you gonna say, Tony?
so Cena wins at WrestleMania 21. He wins the Undisputed Championship. It was the WWE Championship at the time. As a wrestling fan, what was your first thoughts?
I was a kid, so I was happy. Of course, I was happy that Cena won,
Like,
and
Cena
that's all
won.
I
Cena
kind of
won the
remember from
belt.
it.
He celebrated with the fans. What's the
Yeah.
first thing you think of when you see Cena winning the belt?
Me having
Back
hair.
then.
Me having hair.
Shut that out, Rob. Bob, I don't believe you ever had hair. Prove it.
Okay, 1 second.
For me, the very first thing that went through my head, and I think at that time I was 15, 16, like, oh my God, we are getting to spin our WWE Championship. This lad's going to pimp his belt to the guilt.
Yeah.
The best design of that belt of all time. Well,
I did like the belt design. I did. It's controversial.
15-16.
I did.
Hold on.
It was.
Tony,
The only thing
15,
that this,
16.
right? Can I? Wait,
Tony,
what?
Tony was like 9.
No, you have to realize this fella's over 30.
Tony,
I'm 33. I'm 33, bro.
Yeah, he would have been a teenager when
you're
Cena was
joking
champion.
me. Tony,
No.
I thought you were like 22. All right, that your argument's
Yes.
way better than my
He's staying on. Lads, we're keeping him. Sign him up. Sign him up.
Me, Tony.
He's
All
a for
right,
lifer.
sorry.
He's a for lifer. He's a for
Listen,
lifer.
what a bombshell, listeners. Tony's 33.
It's your
Sorry,
fucking
Tony.
bombshell. Everyone knows he's like 40 odd.
Spoiler alert.
So Jamie's hard being the young ones, eh?
Yeah, I know. Especially being a baby.
What are you talking about? I'm only like 22 myself. Like, do you know what I mean?
Nah, you're just at a
First thing
reach
you think of.
in.
I've
What are you like?
had a 22-year career in wrestling. That's what it is.
The first thing I think of, I see him with the crowd, lying there with the, not crowd surfing, but he's like leaning on the crowd with the belt. And it's the coolest title belt. It's my favorite title belt. And Tony has it beautifully in the background there. It's by far my favorite title belt. I left it, hold it proud. But what I'm actually going to do is, it's not the exact thing, not exact image, but one of the things that I then go back to is the dawn of the catchphrase. We all know plenty of Cena's catchphrases. The "you can't see me's," the "if you want some, come get some." But ultimately, we all now remember, and you can see him holding that belt. The champ is
here.
That is basically the crowning John Cena moment at that point for me. He finally got to say that a number of times. I'm not even sure he probably said it with the United States title as well. Probably not though. But yeah, that's what I think of, Tony, when I think of Cena lifting that belt.
The good sentiment, and it's a catchphrase he still uses.
Yeah. If any of us remember when he debuted the spinner belt and then got moved to
The Raw.
Yeah. I remember, because this is the thing with Cena, right? So I didn't start getting merch properly out of my own money from when I was 15, right? And I started getting my own pocket money and stuff like that, and then I started buying my own merch, right? But at the time, I wasn't really into Cena's big colorful stuff. Do you know what I mean? Even though I'm a big Cena fan, I was never into him having different colored shorts every few months, right? To me, it's always been what he had back in the day. And one of the shorts I always wanted to own, one of his shorts anyway, was the champ is here with the arrow down with the spinner belt in the bottom. That was one of the top I always wanted to own, and it was so cool because it was literally like you had the belt on your waist, but it was just a t-shirt.
I have the Daniel Bryan version of that t-shirt here somewhere.
I have a very funny and sort of kind of cool story in a sense. So back then, so obviously John Cena had the t-shirt where it was like a camouflage where it said "You can't see me" in yellow on it, and I purchased it before they were coming to the Belfast show. And this was just around about the time where they were starting to film the Marine. So this was around about 2002. And he was coming. So this was like so you were still this was like still in the internet era of wrestling and such as well. So you were getting the spoilers and stuff coming through. So SmackDown would have been recorded on Tuesday for going out on Thursday. The show was on Thursday in Belfast. Little did I know what had happened, where John Cena had actually dropped the United States Championship to a debuting Carlito Caribbean Cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I dressed up with the jorts, John Cena t-shirt, Chain Gang Soldier medallion with the sort of the commemorative WWE Championship with John Cena had as well. And I was like, as soon as I heard, it's like the following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the United States Championship. I was like, yeah, here he comes. And then the next thing, I spit in the face of people who don't want to be clowned. I was like, what? When did this happen? And then you're watching it you're watching.
He put a little hot tool on that thing.
Spit in that United States Championship.
Oh, Jesus, boys.
But that was like, to me it was a funny moment, but also kind of like going like, dressing in John Cena gear, and then like the next thing it's like not even there. I was like, okay, thanks for that.
Can I just say something about this story, Rob? You've been stealing gimmicks from 2004, mate. Not only are you being the Triple Chief, but you were the basic of Tug of fucking Numbers. You've been stealing gimmicks since the fucking noughties, mate.
Listen, I was still Hulk Hogan and Monoppies.
That lad of Star Wars gimmicks that the Reaper Man never did.
Here, hold on, wait, where's that?
That's such a cool story. It's weird. That's actually mad. That imagine actually thinking Cena is going to be the champion, and then Kylie comes out with the belt, and then you're like, what the fuck? That's mad. But yeah, that's a cool story. But anyway, Tony, what is the fourth controversial take you have on Cena's career?
At this point, our viewers are watching thinking some of these controversial takes aren't quite so controversial. They're just shit decisions. And I went high and low to find controversial stuff. And there's not a lot of controversial stuff with John Cena. So I took some controversial moments, some shit moments. And this one is probably one of the shittest. I've saved the shittest for last, but this one's probably one of the shittest. Not the shittest. We all argue to the hilt that there's some feud Cena should have just lost and some he should have won. This is one that I don't know whose decision it was for him to lose, but he lost. The feud against People Power himself, John fucking Laurinaitis.
Jesus Christ, I didn't think you'd have John Laurinaitis on this fucking list.
Like Martin will probably edit it out. You know what he's like these days of saying next, but
that fucking body still gets me to this day. Jesus Christ, thank God. Yeah. So your controversial take was John Laurinaitis beating him.
It shouldn't have happened. Like, on what planet does John Laurinaitis beat the best of all time? Yes, I did just call Cena the best of all time. Come at me.
Yeah, which are right in the way. Right, can I say something about this, right? There was no other way they could have went with what happened at WrestleMania that year. Because, as of everyone knows, it wasn't a particularly good year for Cena in and outside of the professional wrestling ring. Because the divorce of his wife, there was family problems, and then also with the way the story was going on from him losing to The Rock, that ultimately had the worst run for Cena in that year when he lost to The Rock and affected his character where he didn't really win that many matches.
It was a redemption arc, Jamie. It was a redemption arc.
Yeah, it literally was. We know.
I wonder who he's seen copy and paste that.
Royal Rumble next year. It was built into the Royal Rumble next year, and he was losing, and he was made to look like a loser. And basically, for him then to go, right, there's no other way for me to get out of this phase if I don't go and win the Royal Rumble. But then he ends up winning, and then we know what happened at WrestleMania that year. But I don't think it's controversial because they knew themselves what they were doing. And do you know what? I don't think it's on your list, but fuck it, I'll make it up anyway. I think one of the biggest decisions that they made a mistake on was not putting Cena over against the fucking Rock. And I'm sorry, I'm saying it to this day. The Rock didn't need that win. He didn't need that win. That was just The Rock playing his power card as always. I respect him as a man for what he did back in the day and everything like that. But when you see The Rock now, and I don't know if anyone watched the documentary, he's a bullshitter. he has power and he likes to take power away from other people. And that was the
But it
first
worked.
glimpse I saw of that back in the day when he put himself
It,
over
it
against
gave
Cena.
this whole different character to Cena, this whole redemption arc, so it worked.
Logical Mark coming in at you fast. The reason
Mark.
why
The only Mark
the
on the
only-
FiveMarks network.
Don't you forget it. You can cut this again, Tony. You can cut this again, Marn. The only Mark on the FiveMarks network with a logical opinion of the day. The reason why The Rock went over Cena was because they were making so much fucking money.
But thing is though, Mark, we knew The Rock wasn't going to be on Raw the next day. He was going to be
But
on
we
Raw the
did.
next day.
We knew that there was definitely a possibility of doing it again, which they did, 50-50 booking, that sort of thing. That's why it was done. And it did give us a redemption arc as well. It's purely because they must have thought, oh my goodness me, if we can get this again, we can squeeze it out. I think the big false regret would have been the once in a lifetime thing. But then, hey, WWE lying to fans? Who would have thought? Back to the original point. Why did Johnny Ace go over? Well, the correct logical is probably the redemption arc of John Cena, yes. But then maybe Johnny Ace just had a few cards up his sleeve based on his involvement in certain other things that were going on at the time and previously. Maybe Johnny's like, yo, you put me on TV, make me a biggest star. I don't know. Just remember who was running the company at that point, and just remember his relationship with Johnny
Well,
Ace. But that's all I'm gonna say. Viewers, make your own opinion.
You touched on it by saying we all knew Rock wasn't going to be on Raw the very next night after that Mania. But be honest with me, we knew Rock wasn't going to be there. We weren't expecting Brock Lesnar to show up. We heard homes and has, but I wasn't expecting it to fucking happen. But it did.
No, it didn't. But then some people will say that, oh well, Brock should have got over against Cena because he only returned, and I do understand that. 100%, that should have been a Brock Lesnar win because it would have definitely been one of the best things to have happened for the redemption arc of Cena. So Cena winning at Extreme Rules didn't make any sense at all. But I still, to this day, think Cena should have went over because it was a once in a lifetime. It should have happened once, and then that would have. Because see, I don't know if anyone actually knows that like they were actually plotting the heel turn after him losing to The Rock, and then he was up for doing it, but then Vince didn't want to take that risk because Cena didn't want to do anything he did before. The Make-A-Wishes, the fan appearances, everything like that. He had heel music, he had the attire, he was ready to go to be a heel, but then Vince didn't want to risk that, and then he said, no, we're just going to keep it the way you are. And then that's how the redemption arc started. So, yeah, Tony, what is the fifth? Is it 5 and 5 of the two takes?
I think it's 6 and 6.
Oh, 6 and 6, right? What is the fifth memorable John Cena moment?
So this one's going to put a smile on their face, Joe. Because he seems to be quite the passionate John Cena fan.
Oh, yeah, well,
This one's going to put a smile on their face. This is the culmination of the redemption arc. WrestleMania 29. He finally gets that win that eluded him against the final boss, the people's champion, The Rock.
Yeah. And do you know what? From someone who knows me, and anyone who knows me, the Rock and Cena one is a personal thing to me because of my brother. But then, like when it happened the year after, it was a yay, but it didn't feel right for the fact that it should have happened the year before. And the only reason why they did it again was because they were like, well, we made our money, we're gonna make more money again, and then eventually then we'll put Cena then as the champion. But can you imagine how big of that win would have been the year before? And it's the fact of like if The Rock could put himself over against Hulk Hogan in 2002, then definitely at the time when Cena was untouchable, he should have like put. Because if you think about it, right, Cena had The Rock on ropes. He had him on ropes. He done anything and everything to make this feud memorable. And The Rock was just his stupid catchphrases and compound chickens and all that box, right? And then Cena was the one that took it to the edge, and Dwayne didn't like that. And I thought for the fact that the feud that happened, I thought Cena should have won. It just made the more logical sense. And then I just think the reason why The Rock won was the fact of that it's Dwayne and he likes to use his power. But listen, it is happened, and yes, he did get his win like the year after. But then, does this set up a possible trilogy?
Well, he's on his final run. They had a little confrontation at Mania 40.
Yeah.
Which many say was a year too late for Cody winning his title, just like you're saying it was a year too late for Cena getting his win.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a match I want to see in 2025. It's really
I mean, I wouldn't say no to it.
Oh, hang over, yeah.
If Cena is going through 2025 and he's going to play his greatest hits, well then, we know Orton's going to be there. We know Punk's going to be there. The Rock surely has to be there. I kind of hope Chris Jericho is there in some form.
Hopefully, Edge.
What about the Brock Lesnar? Because obviously with the feuds that he had with Cena, I think he would have been
Him too.
perfect fit in that.
Him too. The rated R superstar be another one.
Edge, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like they had some back and forth feuds and that, and I think. But who do you think would be the ultimate one for Cena to have his final match come WrestleMania 2025?
If he could still wrestle, I know he can't. I know he's past it. I know I'm not past it in the sense, you know, if he could still wrestle and he wasn't fucked, Kurt Angle.
Yeah. I
Gotta
think
be
Orton
Orton.
should be in Cena's last opponent.
I think Orton's
Orton's
the best choice for his last opponent. Yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
I think both men want it as well, and if both men want it and are at that stage of the career now where they are, they have enough clout and credibility to book things how they would want, to go through things how they would want without the old man in their ear, I think they could have an outstanding, nostalgic, throwback kind of match.
And
I'd like to see it.
when we find out where that match is being held, I will be on a plane wherever that match is being held. Because I will be live for that, but they're live in full colour for that match.
But I would also love, not for his final match, but I do want to see Cody and Cena. I think for the title, I think that would just be oh my goodness.
The bastard has me wanting to do Mania 41 now because it's last Mania.
That's how I feel. I've had to dropping out, and then I'm like, oh my god, he's actually retiring at WrestleMania, for fuck's sake. Like, I want to get a fucking credit union loan and go, but it's just so fucking much. But anyway, listen. Fifth controversial take, Tony.
So this one I left for last, and I'm looking at it, and I think it might have also been during his redemption run, but it pissed me off to no end. It was just, why bother with it? And it's another one that's going to catch you off guard that's on my list. Do we all remember, does anyone remember when John Cena took an L to Kevin Federline?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, that was so bad. I remember that.
Yeah, brutal time. I hate celebrities getting involved in wrestling like that.
I think it was during the guest host there, I think.
It wasn't, no. I remember it wasn't. Kevin Federline with the Britney Spears shit. Right, yep. And I remember he was pairing up with Johnny Nitro and Melina.
Yep.
I don't know. I think Joey Mercury was actually injured because of the whole nose thing. So then he paired up
before that.
Was it?
Mm.
Oh, I thought it was after that one. Anyway, and then I think it might have been around the same time as Cyber Sunday when Big Show and Booker T were putting up their belts. And I remember, I think they interrupted the actual match, and then that's how Kevin Federline won. So yeah. Erase that from memories, please, because that was fucking horrendous.
It was a way of getting Umaga over.
Oh,
that's the only thing you can maybe say.
Was Umaga around that time?
Yeah. So Umaga Umaga helped Kevin Federline win that match. So I kind of understand that. Sorry?
Is that? I'm thinking back now.
Big Show?
My head's working over time here. Was that a red? No, it wasn't. That was what I was going to say. Was that around the same time that Cena helped? I wasn't saying it was last year that helped Cena win the IC title. Never mind.
Yeah. Booker and Cena had a match for the world's heavyweight title where Kevin Federline
came in. That's right.
Got involved. Yeah. But he also got involved in a match with Umaga, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is the thing. It's like, don't know.
You don't know what to say to it because it was actually just so bad. Why? Like WWE knew what they were doing because of the whole Britney stuff, and that was a big thing in the
It was
2000s. The Britney
They
Spears, the
fucking
Britney
loved
psychopath.
pop culture at that point, didn't they? They loved having a pop culture influence.
Literally.
And what an odd name. Like, he was famous for divorcing Britney Spears. There was like nothing to that man other than that. It was a
yeah. I
joke. I had
like
no
I
idea, as a Scottish boy from Glasgow, who the fuck Kevin Federline was.
like
No,
I
me
like
neither.
I watched Raw, and I got past that segment, and I was like, I want to fly to Titan Towers and sit in one of them meetings and see if they're smoking ganja and sniffing crack, because somebody's definitely doing something they shouldn't have been doing before they were pitching stuff.
Literally.
Talk about a man who'd
Yeah.
failed the wellness policy.
So it made poor Rob lose all his hair. He was that pissed about it.
Yeah, it's like trying to put pieces and pieces together, you know? It's not easy.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shitty moment, but again, did lead to the Umaga feud, or did elevate the Umaga feud a bit, but at the same time, just I don't know.
Yeah.
For people, not many people have pinfall victories over Cena, and it's a bit odd that Kevin Federline is one of them.
Yeah. All right. So, what is the last?
So before I give you me last highlight of John Cena, I have an honorable mention.
Yeah.
And I put this down for a plethora of reasons, but one of them is because Jamie was actually live in the venue for it. And it's when John Cena interrupted Elias as the Doctor of Thugonomics at WrestleMania 35.
Yes. Tony, can you tell the people what I was like at MetLife Stadium that night?
At this point, I'd already watched the Iconics win the tag titles, and I jumped around dancing, hugging people.
Oh, and Kofi.
I'd already watched Kofi win the world title, and again, I was hugging and kissing random people, dancing, singing, whatever. And I was like, right, I'm calm, I'm settled. Elias came out. I think we were all thinking The Undertaker. We weren't expecting. Then we saw the video hit, and I was like, very CM Punky. Have they patched up bridges with CM Punk?
It was Babe Ruth or something like that, wasn't it? It's funny new.
And then it went. Then it ended, and it was like, so you think you're untouchable? And when I tell you, Jamie nearly threw himself the front row. Jamie Brown nearly threw himself the front row. I've never seen a lad go from nearly asleep to fully awake in 2 syllables.
I think I went from the edge of my bed near enough actually into the ring itself.
Do you know what?
It
was my first time seeing it, right? So actually, do you know, I'm gonna give you the backstory, right? And my backstory. So my first ever wrestling event, WWE event I ever went to was the SmackDown Revenge Tour, and this was when Jack Swagger was world champion. Anyway, so I will never forget a couple of years later, because I still believed in Sandy, by the way, right? I can't believe a couple of years later, right? My ma told me she made a mistake. She was supposed to buy the Raw Revenge Tour tickets because that's who John Cena was in. And I never forget, I actually wanted to get me ma's head and rip it off because I was like, Ma, I can't see Cena live now because you made a fucking mistake. You made a mistake. I couldn't see Cena live. And I'm sitting here going, I'm never going to see this man live. It was because this was that time, right? He was part-time. He was going Hollywood. I was like, I'm never going to see this man live. And then when I heard the Thugonomics team, oh my God, the kid and me literally jumped all over the place. I couldn't believe it. I was literally, it wasn't crying, it was just excitement. It was that I'm seeing him live, and I didn't care if he was like a little ant going down the ramp into the ring. It meant a lot to me to know that I was there to see me hero live the first time. Same way with AJ Styles on the SmackDown in London. It was literally one of my favorite moments at a live event. And I don't care if it was just him going throwback with the Thugonomics gimmick. It meant a lot to me that night.
Like really for me, I seen Cena at my fourth house show, which was Tour de France in 2004. But he wasn't doing the Thugonomics at that time. I don't think he debuted it. He was just doing his raps and whatever. So I never actually got to experience the Thugonomics Cena. Because any Cena I seen live after that was the Time Is Now Cena. Yeah. So when that music hit, it was like a full circle revelation. I was like, I can say I heard Cena's two gimmicks and heard his 2 songs.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, but I'll take it.
amazing moment.
And
Honestly.
he
And you know what
even
the
did
bad
his old
thing?
school punchline as well, which I popped for. He was like, by the way,
Yeah.
you could choke on these, and he threw the nuts up like,
Yeah.
Oh, stop. It was literally back in the fucking promo for Elimination Chamber at New Year's resolution. That was the fourth thing that came into me mind. when he
almost
did
made
that.
up for getting stranded for 4.5 hours after the show.
Oh, stop, because after that it went fucking downhill anyway. But yeah, that's a memory. That was amazing. But yeah, so Tony, what is the last controversial take before
So-
we possibly get into our own memories of John Cena?
I don't have another controversial take because I had a highlight. I had me 6 controversial takes, and I left another one mentioned there before I go to me final Cena moment. One that I think is in everybody's top 5, if not top 3. And it's, of course, one of the most famous John Cena moments. So I'm going to ask a question. Jayo, do you know where you were in January 2008
Oh,
when the
I
30th
fucking
entrant of the
was.
Royal Rumble appeared?
Oh yes, I fucking remember. So right, I remember when Cena got injured. I remember when he got RKO'd by Randy Orton. And little 7-year-old me was absolutely bawling his eyes out knowing that Cena was, gone for the WWE, right? Literally bawling his eyes out, right? I know. Anyway, so Randy Orton was the champion and blah, 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 right? So I remember I was in this exact room, and I just can't see it because of the background, but we moved rooms back in the day, but we were in this exact room, right? And me and my brother were in our 2 single beds, and we were watching, which was I think it was one of the first pay-per-views I actually stayed up for, and I took the day off skill. And I remember watching that and I enjoyed it. It was a great show. The Royal Rumble came about, and we remember that for the Roddy Piper return, the Jimmy Snuka return, everything. Triple H came out at 29, and I was thinking, right, Triple H going to win the Royal Rumble because it would set up for him and Randy Orton. And then when Jerry Lawler goes, who's number 30? And then my times now came on. 7-year-old me jumped out of that fucking bed, and I couldn't scream, but jumped out of that bed in excitement. And I can remember my brother giving me a high five, right? Because he was so excited for me for when John Cena came back. And when John Cena laid out Cody, laid out Mark Henry, literally eliminated everyone. And then it was him, Batista, and Cena. Oh, lad. Oh, not him, Batista, and Triple H. And then when he eventually won it, oh, lads, it's the best return. You can have your Hardy Boys return, you can have your CM Punk return, you can have all your returns all you want. To me, that is the best return in WWE history. Because it was so
much like yourself, I watched that Rumble live.
Mhm.
And anyone that asked me, like, who are you picking to win? And I knew he was injured. I kept saying John Cena. But there was no way. I just, in my head, I knew. Because everyone was like, it's Triple H, it's Triple H. I was like, no, it's Cena. But he's injured. I'm telling you, it's Cena. Anyone that would listen. And lo and behold, the number 30's music hit. And it was one time you were all hating him and singing John Cena sucks. I cheered for him. I was like, yes, I was right.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those moments you know where you were when John Cena returned in January in 2008.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. It's like even like no matter where he returned or no matter where he appeared, if you were there, it was just a moment in itself. You look at Money in the Bank from last year when he turned up unexpectedly. To some people that he might have been expected to be there.
I've never seen a toilet empty as quickly in my life than when his music hit.
Yeah. Oh man, like honest to God, like as soon as that music hit, it was like the roof literally came off that place. Like last year at Money in the Bank for Cena coming out. And I think it came off even more whenever he mentioned about WrestleMania potentially being in London as well on top of that. But I'll say, unfortunately, his last time is going to be now.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, the crowd itself for that return tells you all you need to know. At this point, Cena is polarizing. He's getting some cheers, some boos. We get the usual pish of, these fans boo who they should cheer and cheer who they should boo. Everyone was cheering Cena for that return because it was so unexpected and so out of the blue. Even his face, like he's smiling, man. He knows how cool a moment that is.
I
And it was shit hot.
We've some quite infamous fans from different moments. We've the Undertaker fan, the shock face Undertaker fan. We have the Miz girl. The Miz girl would have slammed me for her reaction. There was a fan when John Cena returned, and I think he was along the walkway, and he was just like this. And it was like that fan's image was the only image you're seeing when they were flashed his return the next night. I'm not.
Don't forget also that our very own fan, Aaron, shouting "fuck" at Clash of the Castle.
That's our Drew fan.
I think Aaron's going to be with us next week if I'm not putting my foot in my mouth.
Well, hopefully he's going to be here next week. Do you know what, lads? Actually, I don't know why when you talk about fans got to deal with different wrestlers, right? There's two particular fans. Well, there's a couple, and then there's another guy. So there's a guy with the I Hate Cena shirt. It was like this black guy with glasses, and he was at literally every show with that same T-shirt, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's one fan I remember. Does anyone remember? I don't know why I remember this, lads. This is how mad of a Cena fan I am. So I remember this couple, right? There's this guy who's spiky hair, and I think there's his wife who was blonde, and they were Cena fans. They were there at WrestleMania 21 when he won the WWE title, and they were going crazy for Cena. Oh, Cena's won and everything, blah, blah, blah. You know, everything. And then when Cena went on, and then when he was being Superman, stuff like that, they were the same fans who had seen the T-shirt saying, I hate Cena, and giving them the finger. The same fans. And if you want a summary of John Cena fans in the noughties into the 2010s, they were your fans, because literally everyone was turned on Cena at that point.
I think it was almost kind of like the, how would you say it, maybe sort of mid-20s, early 30 kind of generation where they were the ones that were sort of edging away from Cena, who may have started liking him when he came into that sort of kind of Doctor Thugonomics era where he was a heel. He wasn't much as a babyface who was winning every single match and things like that. And I think that's what annoyed a lot of people then. And I think that's like what we were talking about earlier on when we were discussing about how the similarities to whenever Roman Reigns was sort of pushed heavily to becoming champion, being a face, and how the fact that you see him now going heel, going very well with it, and sort of taking that on his own and becoming the tribal chief. Obviously, John Cena didn't exactly go heel, and that could have been his moment where if he had have went heel, you wouldn't have known where he would have went. You know, would it have worked? Would it have not have worked? You just don't know. And that's the thing, by taking a risk, by running that, as well. He did tease it at that WrestleMania when he came back, about turning heel, but didn't actually go through with anything at the time, which would have been interesting to see how they have actually went through with it. Because I think I honestly believe that he would have, I believe in John Cena. And I think that he would have been able to pull it off, but it's whether or not the fans would have went with him through it.
Yeah. And I can open-heartedly say that I was one of the fans that went through, like, with Cena throughout the whole lot. Because I'm 24, right? So I'm not Tony's age, I'm not your age, right? And I've always been, like, if you want me to be truthful, there was a time when I was about 15, 16, 17 where I was kind of fading away from Cena, because it was like, well, he's not really doing much. There's nothing really big for him to do. And other than the US Championship matches, which was amazing, there wasn't really anything else that he was doing. But when he won his 16th world title against AJ Styles, I was like, man, that's what Cena needed. He needed that 16-time world championship, because then it could push him then to go for 17 and all that, vice versa. But it is that fact of, man, you might look at all the booking decisions and all that shit we've seen it, but man, you have to appreciate what the man did. He literally gave us everything to WWE. He was at every house show, every meet and greet, every Make-A-Wish, everything. You might say whatever you want about his character and all, but the man is just unbelievable for what he has done for professional wrestling in the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
No.
So, as we know, next year, 2025, is the farewell tour of John Cena. This is up for all 3 years. Would any of you have any objection to Cena becoming a 17-time world champion during his farewell tour?
It has to happen. It has to happen.
For me, for setting it up, especially when we talk about who his last opponent could be and the potential that it could be Randy Orton, would that be the ideal match to have for the championship match at WrestleMania to commemorate John Cena winning?
That leads into my next question. So, because you have to set it up if he's going to do it, would you be pissed if the start of that farewell tour was Cena winning the Rumble.
He's a favourite. He's definitely one of the favourites after the announcement, because I was thinking that
Because
myself.
I think that would actually give Cena the most Rumble wins. I think he has won it the same amount of times as Austin at this point.
Yeah.
I will tie for it with Austin. Maybe has he won it twice? He's won it twice.
He's won it twice now. He's won it twice. Yeah, Cena has.
So is Cody then tied as
he'd be
well.
tied. He'd be tied with Austin then.
Yeah. They could do that, but then they also could, if it's going to be his last Royal Rumble, like they actually could then get someone to eliminate Cena and then start some sort of feud with that, because this is the thing. With this farewell tour, they could do so much with it. And I don't want it to be a Logan Paul being his last WrestleMania match. No, like I wouldn't have minded that to be a match if he wasn't saying that he was retiring. But because he's retiring, you want these matches for the 30, 40 days that he has left to be memorable. And you really want them to not only be from, one of his old feuds with CM Punk and Randy Orton to probably someone they want to build. So someone like Braun Breaker. You never know what he could do in the first few months of the farewell tour.
We have him in the Rumble. We have him in the Rumble, and we send in some ghosts of Cena's past to ruffle his feathers.
And the thing about it is, he did mention that how it would not only be his last Royal Rumble, but also his last Elimination Chamber, which would hint at.
Well, he basically said it was going to be the last event of all the
events. Last whole year.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine he's not going to do one more SummerSlam, unless this year SummerSlam is his last SummerSlam. But then he said he wasn't going to be back around till 2025, so I assume we're going to get him all the way to SummerSlam next year, which is yet to be announced for a location. And he did say he would love to retire in a certain venue in a certain part of the world.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I'm getting Rob's hopes up. I'm not saying names. I'm just setting the scene.
Yeah. No, I know exactly where you're getting that, Tony.
Yeah, same. And if it comes to it, I'll have to bring out the old gimmick, you know what I mean?
You don't have that camouflage t-shirt.
It still fits.
Bullshit.
It still fits. I don't know where it is in a minute, but I know it still fits because I had it on about over a year ago.
That t-shirt could fetch you a pretty penny.
Oh, it would, all right. I think it's still the same color.
You know what, Rob? Since you have all the fucking merch, have you got a Rise Above Hate t-shirt? Because that's the one t-shirt I've always fucking wanted.
Do you know what? I think the only t-shirt that I had at John Cena actually physically, I think, was that You Can't See Me shirt. That was the only, because it was the only one that really caught my eye throughout the whole years of John Cena, except for the one with the United States Championship belt on it. That was the only two that really caught my eye, and then I started going out of actually buying t-shirts.
I actually think I've got an old school Cena t-shirt
because
I had the orange one from 2010 because my brother got it for me, but it's too small, so I ended up getting rid of it. I had one, but it's just too small. I'm not 10 anymore. I've gotten a 12 stone fucking fatter as well. So
but, that's not nice.
No, I'm talking about myself.
Be nice to yourself.
The thing about it, I think one of the nicest bits of merchandise. I know it might be just like an ordinary bit of merchandise, but for me,
lads, sometimes collecting t-shirts is not as cracked out to
be. the Nexus armband, I always loved that, and that sort of really loved having that because I just loved the fact that just pulling it on made me feel as if I was on the Nexus. And then I thought,
Rob, if you have a Nexus armband, you're giving it to me, and there's no questions being asked about
it. Did you get that draw armband off of you?
Oh, here, don't even start me.
It takes no maybe.
Barry and Sunday, don't even get me started with him. He's
What did Barry do on Sunday?
Well, put it like this. So, I don't know if you've seen the post. Obviously, we've got a picture with him, but beforehand, he's like, I'm not taking a picture with you until you get the armband off you.
Fun that, Barry. Right, so boys. Like what Tom you want to say?
I couldn't find a t-shirt, but the t-shirt that I was looking for, the retro one, is the John Cena blue ribbon t-shirt.
Yes, okay, nice.
Can't find it. I have t-shirts here and I have t-shirts in the attic, so I must be in the file in the attic.
Yeah, I can't believe you had t-shirts in the attic. Fucking hell, man. But
I
right,
have 300 plus t-shirts. I have a lot of t-shirts.
man, I wouldn't. I have to throw away a lot of my shit. But anyway,
I have
since we're
Cody's Bullet
coming
Club
up,
t-shirt here somewhere as well.
I
yeah,
just
I
got a
still have
CM Punk t-shirt from Clash that I regret buying.
Here, you go
Uh,
to sleep in that
I
t-shirt
wanted a
tonight,
pin from
bastard.
Glasgow, but my
What are you
friends couldn't
talking
get it for me.
about? I never wear that t-shirt. That's ridiculous.
Where to sleep? He's wearing it now.
I never wear it.
Do you know what a wash machine is, pal?
Where's
So I can
the
smell
bed?
it from here.
Yeah, the issue is I'm staying at my grandmother's at the moment, as you guys know. Sorry, listeners, too much information. She does a washing every single fucking day. So I wear the same t-shirt every fucking day because it always goes in the wash and
You
the
are,
dryer.
if you wear that t-shirt to Emily in next month, you're dead to me. I am not getting
Oh,
jumped
no.
on by a bunch of
You
AW
joking?
hostels.
I am getting myself an MJF t-shirt. He's my scumbag.
They didn't have MJF t-shirts last year at the mates. I was snapping going through the
I
mates
know.
last year.
It's fucking ridiculous. The merch was
He's your
shocking,
main
by the way.
event. He's your world champion. He didn't have MJF, mate.
The merch was pish.
Yeah.
They better
Anyway,
have
we're
their act together
straight
this year.
off. Take us home.
Right.
Who's taking us
So-
home? Whose job is it this week?
Yeah. So to end this tribute to John Cena, which, by the way, I'm not saying we're going to be doing another tribute to John Cena, but we
But
are.
we will
gonna
if you want
mention-
to. Let us know in the comment section below.
Yeah, actually, yeah, comment below if you wanna another tribute part 2, talk about more memories with John Cena. This is the John Cena. I
And
love.
if you want us to dress up as John Cena as well for it, albeit.
Yeah, actually, do you know what? If we
Can we do an episode where we
you know
dress up as
what?
different versions of Cena?
Do you know what? Get this. I'm gonna say it to Martin. I'm gonna say it to all you lads on the social medias. If this gets to 1K views, I will buy the whole John Cena farewell set. Because I'm
I'm
looking
buying
to
the
buy
set
the
anyway.
t-shirt,
Don't need to get to 1K
I'll
views. I'm
buy
buying it
the
anyway.
and I will dress up as John Cena for one day. I'll go out in public, wear the jeans, shorts, and the sneakers. I'll literally do the whole lot. I don't care. For
You
1K
heard it here
views, I'll do
first.
it.
Viewers,
You heard it here first.
Spotify listeners, if you can get
I
us
will up.
to
I will one up
1,000
that.
viewers, right?
I will one up that.
Not only will Jamie dress up as John Cena and walk around as John Cena, if we get to 1,000 viewers and listeners in total, Tony, what are you gonna do?
I will one up that. Right now on the TikTok and the Insta, we have like 100 followers. If you can get us to at least 500 followers before Scrapper Mania walks around, I will dress up as John Cena for Scrapper Mania weekend. The whole
Oh.
weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll join you on that as well. Do you know what? Fuck it, lads. I'm going to even up the ante more, right? I know,
Okay.
I don't care. Fuck it. I'm going to up the ante more and I'm going to do it on my own back pocket. If anyone can get us the 1K likes, 500 followers, everything, if the supporters of Weekly Controversies, if the FiveMarks are going to do a giveaway, we're doing the giveaway. Anyone who does that, yes, we are doing a giveaway. If anyone can get us to those viewers and those followers, we are going to be giving away a John Cena top. But more information is going to be coming soon.
Tony,
If
is that
that
in your
happens-
notes?
if it
Tony,
happens.
is that in your notes? Is that in your
Yes.
notes?
Not on the script. That's
What
not
the
on
hell?
the script.
What the hell? This
You know what?
Fuck
I-
it, lads. Let's
I'm
fuck
gonna
Just-
up the ante. I'm gonna up the ante even more.
Ah!
I'll give away.
Martin, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen.
Well,
Fuck their
just
giveaway. We've got the best giveaway in all of the FiveMarks
it
podcast.
would not
I'm not
be
saying never work.
it would not be a true John Cena tribute if somebody didn't go into business for themselves. Jamie, well done. You've went against the script. It's Cena
Yes.
Nexus all over
The
again.
French are going home. The French are going home. You're never gonna believe it. You're never gonna believe it. Sorry.
Take us home, Jamie, before Tony loses his mind and explodes at the Euro semi-final.
No
result.
CM Punk allowed, Rob. No CM Punk allowed.
Yeah, wrong
Anyway.
episode, Rob.
Right. But no, honestly, we're not bullshitting. I will do it. I don't mind. It's for a bit of fun. We will. If we get the 1K, I'll dress up as Cena. If we get the 500 followers, he'll dress up as Cena at Scrappermania. If we do both, we'll do a John Cena giveaway. So watch out on the social medias, lads. Honestly. So I just want to say thank you all of you for watching episode 25. A little bit of a milestone. But I just want to say thank you to my hosts as always, Mark Goldberg, Rob Gold, who came in 10 minutes late, and Tony O'Connell. Thank you, boys, again.
You're
Lovely,
very
guys.
welcome. You're very welcome. And I know you couldn't see me for the first few minutes or so, but
The best John Cena impression I've seen all day. Right.
And just like John Cena's career, we are over.
No. It is over. It's over. No, this is my fucking intro. All right, this is my outro as well. All right. I was gonna say, please follow the Weekly Controversies Instagram page. Please follow the Weekly Controversies TikTok account, which is Weekly Controversies 2. Am I correct, Sven? So please follow them too, especially if you want us to dress up as gobshites and have a lovely John Cena t-shirt on your way. And just like the prototype, we are over.